Hello and welcome to our presentation. All steamed up, let's take the pressure out of assessment. We are from De Montfort University in Leicester and my name is Julia Reeve. My colleagues are Angela O'Sullivan and Leisha Nichols-Drew. Just to give you some background to this presentation, which was originally planned to be an active workshop. The three of us come from a community of Teacher Fellows, National Teaching Fellows and winners of the Collaborative Award for Teaching Excellence at De Montfort University. We share an interest in inclusive practice and universal design for learning, also in reducing the stress of assessments. Last year we ran a workshop at the Inclusivity Conference in Bath, and this session has grown out of that workshop. UDL recognises that we all learn in different ways and that choice in learning and assessment are essential. This presentation is based on laboratory assessments but could also apply to other kinds of group work. Wet lab practices are often delivered in groups or pairs, and students can often adopt different roles when they're working together. For example, passive students often do not participate practically, where active students can dominate the sessions. Nervous students can become passive, and more confident and dominant students can monopolize the session and also the assessment experience. Sometimes practicals can become very stressful for everybody involved. By understanding the kinds of stresses that people experience in these settings, we can help to mitigate them. The assessment we're going to focus on in this presentation is a serial dilution. Working in pairs, you are going to make a serial dilution of a non-toxic pigmented solution, red cabbage water in this case. You will watch a demonstration and then perform the practical working in pairs. You are being assessed on your practical skill, including the accuracy of performing a serial dilution. Your partner will perform the practical side of this assessment, and it will be interesting to see what your reactions are when working with different partners.
So this is the demonstration of the laboratory assessment. This is the concentrated solution, and there are 400 mils in here, 200 mils up to the first line and 200 mils up to the top. So if I take a beaker and pour out from this solution to the line, then there's 200 mils poured in, 200 mils left. Each of these beakers has got 200 mils in them. If I pour that in, then we have diluted it by half. If I pour back 200 mils into this beaker, you can see it's slightly less concentrated. And then pour that into another 200 mils. It becomes half as concentrated again. Pour it back up to the line. Pour the remainder into the 200 mils of water. Pour it back up to the line. Pour the remainder into the 200 mils of water. Pour it back to the line. And now you can see that what we've created is a serial dilution. Each one is 50% less concentrated than the other, and you can see how dark the original solution was and the gradient coming down to the lighter solution. And that is your task.
Now that you've seen what the assessment entails, it's time to meet our three learners. They are Perfect Purple, Pensive Pink, and Bothered Blue. They're not meant to represent the full diversity of our learners, but we're using them as a way of framing some of the typical responses that we've observed when working with group assessments in the lab. Many of us have experienced the difficulties of working with students in groups. Some learners may find the theory fine but struggle with the practical. Others may be terrified of practical lab work. Others may find the practical side enjoyable but not understand the theory. Particular challenges when working in a wet lab include working with hazardous substances, the possibility of trips and slips, and also working with flammable materials. Your first partner for the serial dilution task is Perfect Purple. Perfect Purple likes the theory side of this work, but inside is quite worried about the practical side.
I like the way that it's opaque. That means you can't see through it. Big words. Science. I like it. Okay, now I'm going to pour it back. Oops. I'll pour it back in. Oh, now we've not got enough. Now I can't do the experiment at all.
Perfect Purple's reaction to how the task went is, oops, I accidentally knocked the container, but it doesn't matter. We can use the results they gave us. What's your reaction to working with Perfect Purple? Would you say, next time I'm working on my own? Or, okay, try not to worry, next time we work together, I can steady the container. Or, never mind, yes, we can use the results the demonstrator provided. Reflecting on this task, Perfect Purple thinks, I look forward to the next lab test, but I need to be more careful or no one will work with me. What's your reflection on working with Perfect Purple? We'll come back to this at the end of the presentation. Your second partner for this task is Pensive Pink. Pensive Pink is terrified of practical lab work and is secretly worried that perhaps they're not on the right course. As we saw with Perfect Purple, things don't always go to plan when we're working with partners in the lab. Let's see how things go working with Pensive Pink.
Okay, so I need to keep taking 200 millilitres from the stock solution and add it to 200 millilitres of the water. Is this liquid toxic? I have got my safety goggles on, but these gloves make it really difficult. Okay, that's fine. Oh no, what's happened? It's gone pink. That's not supposed to happen. But it is a lovely shade of pink. But it's not supposed to be like that. Do you think I've gone and made it more toxic somehow?
Pensive Pink's reaction to this task was, I don't know what went wrong there. I watched the demonstration, but I must have done something wrong. I mess up everything. What's your reaction to working with Pensive Pink? Was it, everyone's looking at our pink solution, you've made us look stupid? Or, I'm sure it's not your fault, I saw you do everything like the demonstration? Or, never mind, let's talk to the demonstrator and see if they have any suggestions. Reflecting on the task, Pensive Pink thinks, I don't understand practicals at all, and I'm frightened I'm going to do something dangerous. I'm going to leave the course. What's your reflection on working with Pensive Pink? We'll come back to this at the end of the presentation. Your partner for the third and final task is Bothered Blue. Bothered Blue says, I just want to get through the practical quickly because I want to get an early train. They're thinking, practicals are a complete waste of time. Here you can see how the task went working with Bothered Blue. Right, okay, let's get on with it. The sooner we get this done, the sooner we get out of here. 200 mil in, 200 mil out. So simple. What a waste of our time. What did you say? You don't think the colour is right? I can't see any difference from the demonstration. What does it matter anyway? Nobody really knows what's going on. Bothered Blue's reaction to the task was, well, that finished quickly. Maybe the colour was a bit off, but I don't think it will matter. What was your reaction to working with Bothered Blue? Was it, I thought they knew what they were doing, and now my mark's going to be affected? Or, let's go to the library and see if we can research what happened? Or, maybe we could ask the demonstrator if we can get critical reflection marks? Reflecting on this task, Bothered Blue thinks, at least I caught my train. I'm deferring this assessment anyway, for personal reasons. What's your reflection on working with Bothered Blue? We'll come back to this again shortly. Thinking back to the first partner you worked with, Perfect Purple, what are your reflections on that process? Perhaps they were, how could someone be so careless? Or, this could happen to anyone, but I did not get a chance to help. Or, this has impacted on our experiment results, but everyone makes mistakes at some point. Or perhaps you thought something different. What was your reflection? Now thinking back to the second task, working with Pensive Pink, what were your reflections there? Perhaps they were, only Pensive Pink could have embarrassed us with that bright shade of pink. I bet they added something deliberately. Or, oh dear, Pensive Pink seemed so nervous. I should have helped in some way, but I wasn't sure what was happening. Or, it must have been caused by something like dirty glassware. There will be a scientific reason, and lots of things have been discovered accidentally. What was your reflection? Finally, what were your reflections on working with Bothered Blue? Were they, my marks have been completely messed up, and Bothered Blue couldn't care less? Or, they seem to have a lot of worries and are rushing things. Maybe I could help in some way. Or, perhaps the glassware was contaminated. What was your reflection? So how can we take the pressure out of assessment for these learners? Perhaps we can think about their different perspectives. Perfect Purple says, I wish I could practice more in mocks until I get confident with the practical skills before the assessment. I'm fine with the theory. Pensive Pink says, I wish I had more confidence in the lab theory and practice, and that the demonstrator would reassure me that I'm working safely. I'd stay on the course then. Bothered Blue says, I wish I could see the point of the practical assessments. If they were earlier in the day, my commute would be less stressful. Will they even help me get a job to solve my money problems? So, a final word on how we can take the pressure out of assessment. Know your learner and support their needs. There will still be things they may be unsure about, but recognizing that they are gaining key employability skills is a great motivator, so make sure that practicals are relevant. Thanks very much for engaging with our presentation. Finally, here's a few references, including a link to some information about last year's workshop that I mentioned earlier. If you'd like to find out more about our work, please do get in touch. Thanks very much.